The crystalline palace of Zerthal had never witnessed such chaos. For 300 cycles, the royal family had maintained absolute control over their domain, their genetically engineered war dragons serving as symbols of their unquestionable power. But today, everything changed because of a human maid named Susan. Susan had arrived on Zerthal 6 months ago as part of the Human Integration Program, a diplomatic gesture meant to showcase humanity's willingness to serve the greater galactic community. She worked in the Eastern Wing, far from the throne room where Prince Lucas, the Crown Prince of Zerthal, conducted his daily affairs. The Zerthalians were a proud species, their chitinous purple skin and forearms marking them as one of the Dominion's elite warrior races. The incident occurred during the ceremony of ascension. Prince Lucas's bonded dragon, Karnax, a magnificent creature with scales like living obsidian and wings that could blot out 3 suns, had become agitated. The beast thrashed in its ceremonial chains, its telepathic shrieks reverberating through every mind in the palace. Susan had been serving refreshments to the gathered nobility when Karnax broke free. The dragon's massive head swung toward the crowd, jaws unhinging to reveal rows of crystalline teeth. Nobles scattered in panic, their elaborate robes trailing behind them like colorful rivers. But Susan stood frozen, her human instincts screaming at her to run while her legs refused to obey. Karnax struck. Its teeth closed around Susan's forearm, piercing through flesh and bone. She screamed, not the refined cry of Zerthalian pain, but a raw, primal human scream that echoed off the vaulted ceilings. Prince Lucas reached her first, his forearms working in concert to pry his dragon's jaws open. "Release her," he commanded through their telepathic bond. The dragon obeyed, dropping Susan to the polished floor as purple blood, both hers and the dragon's, mixed on the pristine tiles. The palace physician arrived within moments, his scanner humming over Susan's mangled arm. "The wound is severe," he announced. "The venom will kill her within the hour." There is no antidote for humans, but as the physician prepared the death rites, something impossible happened. Susan's wound began to glow, not with the soft bioluminescence of Zerthalian healing magic, but with a harsh white light that seemed to come from within her cells themselves. Her body convulsed once, twice, and then went still. The glow faded. Where there had been torn flesh and shattered bone, smooth pink skin now covered her forearm. Not a scar remained. The gathered nobles gasped in unison, their translator implants struggling to convey their shock in human terms. "Impossible," the physician whispered. "No species survives Karnax venom. It unmakes DNA itself." Susan sat up slowly, her brown eyes wide with confusion. What happened?" She flexed her fingers experimentally. "It doesn't even hurt anymore." Prince Lucas knelt beside her, his compound eyes whirring as they focused. "You survived. No one survives." Over the next 3 days, the palace scientists subjected Susan to every test known to galactic medicine. They discovered something that would rewrite xenobiology textbooks across 1,000 worlds. Human DNA possessed an adaptive quality that no other known species shared. When confronted with Karnax venom, a substance designed to be universally lethal, Susan's cells had evolved in real time, developing immunity and then weaponizing the venom's own properties to accelerate healing. But the implications went far deeper. Prince Lucas, bound to Karnax through ancient rites, began experiencing the dragon's perspective of the incident. Through their bond, he felt what the creature had felt. Susan's genetic signature had called to Karnax like a beacon. The dragon hadn't attacked out of rage. It had been compelled by instinct to mark her, to test her, to see if the legends were true. The legends spoke of a species that would one day join the Dominion, a species whose very biology was warfare incarnate, a species that adapted, survived, and conquered not through superior technology or psychic prowess, but through sheer, stubborn refusal to die. Humanity had been that species all along. On the 4th day, Prince Lucas summoned Susan to his private chambers. Karnax coiled in the corner, no longer aggressive but watchful, almost protective. "You should be dead," Lucas said without preamble. "Yet you stand before me healthier than before the bite." Susan met his alien gaze without flinching. "My grandmother survived smallpox, the plague, and a nuclear winter on old Earth," she said quietly. "My father survived first contact wars. My mother survived terraforming accidents that killed entire colonies. Survival is what humans do, Your Highness. It's all we've ever done. Lucas's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. The Galactic Council has feared humanity's potential for generations. They placed your species in service positions to keep you controlled, to prevent you from realizing your strength. He gestured to Karnax. But my dragon knew. They always know. Word of Susan's survival spread through the Dominion like wildfire. Other human servants began reporting similar incidents, surviving poisons, adapting to hostile environments, recovering from injuries that would cripple other species. The truth could no longer be suppressed. Humanity wasn't meant to serve. They were meant to endure, to adapt, to overcome. Prince Lucas made his decision. He stood before the Galactic Council 3 months later with Susan at his side, not as a servant but as an equal. I propose humanity be granted apex species status, he declared. Any civilization that can survive my dragon's bite deserves a seat at this table. The motion passed unanimously, not because the council agreed, but because they were afraid to refuse. As Susan took her seat among the galaxy's elite, she caught Lucas's eye and smiled, a very human expression of triumph. The palace had been silenced, but humanity's voice was just beginning to echo across the stars.